How's it going today, guys? In this video, I'm going to be going in depth about the new Trijicon RMR HD. I'm also going to be showing you how to install it. If you want to see more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any questions or want to see anything specific, feel free to comment down below. So I've been waiting for a while for something to come out like this. A durable and reliable open emitter for carry with a bigger window and that you can access the battery on top. That was a big downfall of the RMR, was the window size and having to take off the red dot just to change the battery. I had to wait like 6 months to get it from Optic, which is outrageous. I think these are still pretty hard to find, but you can back order them some places like Brownells, Optic, or get on other wait lists. I would definitely say it's worth it. The price tag is what it is when you're making something durable, reliable, and a quality product like this. I'm going to be using this Ford Controls MOS adapter plate, which is about $75. We have the red dot here. You get one of these nice cases they send it with. Comes in just like that. They already have the battery installed right there. Then you have your manual on all your features. There's a bunch of information in there, so I'm not going to go into everything in that. Torx key with your screws, which I'm not going to be using any of these for my specific setup. Sticker, their product list, warranty card, and then your battery tool. So you definitely want to make sure you hold on to that. None of that I'm really going to dive into. These screws are going to be too long for what I'm using them for, but they're still good to keep, and they do come Loctited, which is nice. I will dive into this a little bit later. This is a 3.25 MOA red dot. The battery life will go anywhere from 2 to 6 years, depending what brightness you're using it on, what mode you're using it on. This has an auto brightness feature, so it'll automatically change the brightness depending on what environment you're in. It's kind of similar to the Shake Awake, except it doesn't turn off all the way. So if you have it in a drawer, it's going to dim down all the way. So you'll probably get around 2 years, maybe a little less on the brightest setting, all the way up to 6 years, depending on how often you use it, what mode you have it on, and stuff like that. Trijicon says that on brightness setting 5, if you have it continuously on, you'll get about 3 years of battery life, which is still fine. That's plenty. I'll probably have it on 6, maybe 7. We'll see how that goes. That'll at least give me a year and a half, which is plenty for a red dot. As long as it's not dying every month or every few months, I'm not too worried about it. But pretty good battery life for the most part. As you can see, the buttons are a lot bigger. You don't have to take it off to change the battery, which is a huge plus. And that bigger window size is fantastic. Durable and reliable open emitter that I can use for carry, EDC, stuff like that. As you can see, that window is really big. It's kind of like if the RMR and the SRO had a baby. Now, I still wish this would have been a little bit bigger. I do like the big window like on the SRO, but it's still a big improvement. The bottom is already sealed and enclosed. You have your windage here and your elevation here. We have 1 click is 1 MOA. They also added this little mark in here for close aiming shots, which I wouldn't really use anyways. I'm also not going to really be using this sensor here. It's cool that they added it, but I don't want to rely on that to be on the brightness I want it to. So I'm just going to pick a brightness and then lock it on that setting. Another thing they did, which you can't really see very well here, they added a donut, or kind of like the EOTech reticle, which it doesn't actually look like that. There's actually clear spaces in the center, so it looks more similar to the EOTech reticle. I also won't be using this as well. It's just too big, covers up too much the target, and is pretty much just unneeded. So if you hold both for about 3 seconds, your middle will start flashing. You'll just push one of your buttons, and then it'll change it to the single dot, which is a lot better, which I'm going to be using. And then you just go ahead and hold it, both buttons again, and then you'll be on the red dot, which is a lot better and a lot more usable. For my EDC and my carry, which is a Glock 19, I had a Leopold Delta Point Pro on before that, and it was pretty good, but it's definitely nowhere close to as durable or reliable as this. So I definitely wanted something I have more peace of mind in, and I know is not going to fail on me. If you only have one pistol, like for example with this setup, you could go ahead and throw this on there and you could use it for EDC, or you could use it for duty purposes. Open emitter might not be best for harsh environments like rain, snow, dirt, whatever you might have, but something like this is still going to do a good job. I personally just prefer to have a closed emitter for the battle outside the waistband type pistols. So it's up to you whether you want to go open or closed if you only have one pistol. It has the auto adjust brightness. So say I get into a dark area, the brightness is going to decrease, but if I go outside or in a bright area, the brightness is going to increase. Pretty cool. I just don't like to rely on a feature like that. I want my brightness set at a certain point where I'm not relying on the device to pick the brightness that's best for me. That donut or EOTech like reticle, it's a cool aspect, but I think you'll probably drop it after a week or two of using. It just covers too much of the target. It's way too big for this window size, and it's not very useful for pinpoint, precise, and accurate shots you might be trying to take. Another thing it lets you do about the EOTech reticle is you can set the different brightnesses for the circle or for the dot in the center. That's pretty cool as well. If you want the outer ring a little bit less bright and then you want the dot in the center more bright. One thing I will say about this is you have to be mindful where your ejection port is because of how this hangs over. Now I know for some staccatos it doesn't work because that little lip there hangs above the ejection port and it can cause some extracting issues. For Glocks it's definitely gonna work. You could throw this on a shotgun if you want, which would be really cool as well. I know some people like to put like the Trijicon SRO or the Leopold, like I was using the Leopold Delta Point Pro, or stuff like the Holosun Comp, but really all it takes is that one drop on the face or on the corner and then your optic could be broke. And I've never dropped a pistol, so it's definitely unlikely, but if you were to get into a scuffle and for some reason it gets knocked out of your hand or it falls or anything like that, having a durable and reliable optic for me is a peace of mind, and I know it's going to work no matter what. So I like to go with the RMR HD instead of those competition or those bigger window optics that aren't as durable. 3.4 years of continuous use at setting 5 for the dot only. And then for your dot size, I do recommend the 3.25. That's the only reason I would get the 1 MOA if you're trying to use it for competition or for a rifle. Reticle selection mode, your brightness response mode. You can choose between the 3 modes. Reticle relative brightness mode, the manual brightness lock-in mode. I'm just going to turn this off for now, and I'm just going to hold both. And it's just going to keep blinking, so I'm just going to keep holding that and it'll be off for now just for the installation. This is the Forward Controls MOS adapter plate for the RMR. It's going to work for all your Trijicon pistol red dots. These are my favorite MOS adapters. They have both of the stops at the front and back to keep it in place. It's made of a stronger metal and it's not flimsy like the Glock MOS adapter plates, so I definitely recommend these out of all of them. They're just stronger, more durable, more reliable stuff. I've used the Glock MOS plates before. They can bend if you tighten down the screws too far, but they're just not made of great materials and they bend a lot easier. I definitely prefer a milled slide, but I bought these a long time ago. Having the MOS, and MOS isn't terrible, but having the milled slide for a lower height over bore is really nice. Just make sure the optic that you're milling the slide for is something you want and you're going to keep for a long time, because after you get it milled, you're not going to be able to change it. You'll just have to shave everything down to a MOS slide. But with the 4 pistol red dots that Trijicon has, can't go wrong getting it milled for the RMR footprint because you have 4 different options to choose from. SRO, competition use, the RCR, duty, outside the waistband use, and then the RMR or the RMR HD for your carry. So it gives you a lot of options going with the RMR footprint. Comes with some red Loctite. This is good stuff, so you can use this or whatever you want. And then it comes with both sets of screws you're going to need, which these will both work fine. Comes with 4 and then 2 here. These I'm going to use for my adapter plate, and then these I'll use for the red dot. Just go ahead and take these out. To mount this 12 to 13 pounds, so I'm going to mount to 13 pounds. First thing I'm going to do, just go ahead and make sure the mag's out, and then check in the chamber and make sure there's no round in the chamber. Going to pull the trigger, going to pull back the slide just a hair, and then pull down my takedown pins, let the slide go forward, pull it the rest of the way. And then you don't have to do this, but I just do it for ease of use. It lets the slide rest a little bit more flat. I'm going to go ahead and take out the recoil spring, and I'm going to take out the barrel. Now that I have those out, like I said, just rest a little bit more flat. I'm just going to go ahead and take a Torx key, take off my MOS plate. If you have your slide milled, you won't have to do this process. So I'll take that out, set that aside. I'm going to set that on there with these little nubs facing forward, just like that, and it locks into place. And you can see how nice of a fitment that is. It butts up against the rear and it butts up against the front, so it has very little movement at all. Just cut the corner of the tip of the bag. I'm just going to stick the screw in that corner and then push that Loctite up and then just twist the screw so I can get all of it on the threads. Got that one. I'm gonna place it into the front screws. Do the same thing. Just like that, get that Loctite on there. Twist those in for right now. If you can, try to torque everything to spec. Just make sure that your optic's not getting damaged and nothing's gonna fall off. So I have 13 inch-pounds right there. And then I'm just gonna go back and forth until I get 4 clicks. So try to keep the same tension on each screw while you're tightening these down. Just go back and forth. And I have 1 click, 2, and then I'm just gonna confirm with 2 more, 3, 4. With these, you do have to push this optic down there and you'll feel a little bit crunching. It's just sliding tight into there. You can see those slight marks on the corner. That's just pushing into there. It's fine, it's normal. So as you can see, when I go to set it on top there, there's that gap. So I'm just gonna push that on all the way. Just like that. Make sure there's no gaps on either side before you go to tighten it. Even on the back as well, give a push on the back. You can, if you need, tap that with a hammer. Just tap it in place. Take 2 more out of this bag from Forward Controls. And this one says 12 to 13 inch-pounds, but Trijicon in the manual says 15 inch-pounds. So I'm gonna do what they say, go to 15. Get some Loctite on there. Drop it in the screw hole. Get some more Loctite on there. Drop that in the screw hole. I'm gonna change this to 15. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. Just tighten these down. Make sure you're not cross-threading these. You want the screw going in straight and not at an angle. You shouldn't get any resistance when tightening until it's actually gotten down some way. Just gonna go back and forth on the screws. If you don't have a torque wrench, just do hand tight on both of those. Just make sure when you're tightening these down, it's not pushing up the adapter plate at all. You want to make sure it's nice and flat. That's one thing you'll see on the Glock MOS plates is they'll start bending up. Go ahead and slide the barrel back in. Take my recoil spring, put it in the hole here, depress it, and make sure it gets on the bottom clip or the bottom little stair there. Slide it on. And you're just gonna have to push your slide a little bit to the right so it can clear that rail. Make sure everything actuates. Last thing I'm gonna do on this, throw it in manual brightness. I'm gonna turn it on. You can see it's pretty dim there and it's still in manual control. So I'm just going to hold the plus for 3 seconds. It'll start blinking. So it blinked right there, and now I can't adjust it. So that's the setting I'm gonna wanna be in. These are the ameriglo GL-470s. Puts it right there at about a 1/4 co-witness. That's all I need. Just enough co-witness to where it's not taking up the majority of my optic space. They also have the GL-429, which is their smallest pair of the all black. That'd get you down very low. I'm not sure if you'd still be able to see the iron sights. And then for the 1/3 co-witness, they have the GL-506. ameriglo has an optic compatible iron sight list that you can go off of. It's based off a 1/3 co-witness. I'm not a huge fan of the 1/3 co-witness. I like the 1/4 or the 1/8 co-witness so I can see most of my optic glass. I'm gonna be using the optic like 99% of the time. So I'm not trying to prioritize the iron sights. I'm trying to prioritize the red dot. Ameriglo iron sights are my favorite. They're made of really good material. I don't like tritium or fiber optic iron sights. I don't want to see a second color dot or two more back here. So I like them all black. That way it's not distracting from the red dot. I do run the GL 429s on my acro with the adapter plate, and I can see them with those. And then I know the GL 429s does work with the RCR when it's milled. If you want to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and share to help support the channel. And if you have any questions or want to see anything specific, feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching.